Long have I guarded this peaceful kingdom, protecting the barrier between darkness and light. But invaders from another world threaten to take my home. I won't let them.
Welcome to my arena of hellfire. In here, no one plays nuns. Two sides enter, but only one side can survive. Let the battle commence!
Time for battle. Guardian ready.
Shall we do this?
Strike.
My dear little Sproutling, you are a special one, able to experience time a bit more flexible. You and all your other selves. You were created a part of me. We are connected. We are nature. We are one.
Welcome, everyone, to our third annual MetaQuest Gaming Showcase. I'm thrilled to be back hosting, and it's a big day. This morning, Mark Zuckerberg shared that our MetaQuest 3, our next-gen VR headset, is launching later this year. MetaQuest 3 is our follow-up to MetaQuest 2 and will feature advanced tech that opens up new possibilities in both VR and MR. It will also be backwards compatible with Quest 2's entire library of over 500 games and apps. Later in the show, we'll explore Oculus Studio's biggest and most immersive game ever with a gameplay deep dive. A game that will take advantage of MetaQuest 3's cutting-edge hardware. We have way more to share when MetaQuest 3 releases, including specs, more apps and experiences, and a whole slate of groundbreaking MR content. These are all stepping stones toward our long-term vision for building the metaverse. But for today's showcase, it's all about VR games. Every title you see today will be playable on both MetaQuest 2 and 3, and is currently set to launch in the next 12 months. So let's get started.
Are you ready?
Samba de Amigo in VR. I could not be more excited because music is such an important part of my life. I was a professional musician for years, and at Meta, I've gotten to work with the talented teams behind a bunch of other rhythm games. Playing Samba de Amigo in VR feels like it's always belonged here, and I can't wait to see everyone shaking their maracas when Sega brings the game to the MetaQuest store this fall. Back in February, Shell Games revealed I Expect You to Die 3, Cog in the Machine. Today, I can confirm that this third helping of Spy Hijinks, or Spyjinks, is coming to the MetaQuest store this year. Hopefully your skills haven't gotten too rusty, because this threequel will send agents on their most challenging mission yet. Confront more villainous villains, tackle more perilous perils, and expect to die a few more times.
Oh, you are either very strong or that steering wheel was not attached correctly.
Dr. Roxana Prism is a former inventor for the agency. She truly believes she can create a better agent.
Oh, hey, Admiral Butler!
You'll either prove her wrong, or prove her right. You're dead in that second scenario.
Once you're dead, everyone will see just how superior my robots are to human agents.
Hey, you found some nickel! Do it again and you'll have 10 cents!
Every time we encounter Agent Phoenix, we get stronger.
Check this out! We can fly now!
It's simply a matter of time and iteration.
You think that's the end? It's not even begun!
Are you using Dr. P's notes I left in there? Aren't they great? Sometimes I look at them because they make me happy.
You don't have to play the series in order, but if you'd like to, you'll find the first two games bundled in the MetaQuest store for 40% off for a limited time. That's not all Shell Games is working on. They made a promise at last year's showcase. 3 games over the next 2 years. Hot off the press, let me introduce you to Silent Slayer, Vault of the Vampire. Silent Slayer is a single-player horror game that'll bring you face-to-face with slumbering vampires. And as you might guess from the title, stealth is key to survival. As Shell Games puts it, silence is golden, sound is death. Spooky. Let's take a peek.
Keep silent. Gently. At last. Aim for the center of the chest. And do not be gentle.
At last year's showcase, we revealed Ghostbusters: Rise of the Ghost Lord. And then I got to drive off into the sunset in the iconic Ecto-1. For this year's show, Sony Pictures VR and nDreams put together a little dossier on the Ghost Lord himself. Who is he, and how did he get to be so mean? Along the way, we'll get a glimpse of the West Coast's first Ghostbusters HQ, some iconic San Francisco landmarks, and the spirits and specters that you'll be trapping there with your friends. Let's take a look.
You think you know the whole story of the Ghostbusters. Well, you don't know my story. 1984. My research brought me to Columbia University, where I studied under the Ghostbusters. They dismissed my work, called it dangerous. But in San Francisco, I can show them, with its untapped cauldron of the undead. Where others saw fear, I saw subjects. How could I know my research would stir a dormant evil? The Ghost Lord. Alcatraz. Tortured souls, whose guilt I could drain and drain again. Their pain, the price of progress. My dear assistant Katie understands. Soon everyone will understand. Especially you, Ghostbusters, with your silly parlor tricks. You will see the progress I have made. Know the power I have harnessed. You will realize that I, Gustav Hookfather, am the genius who gave the world endless clean energy. The Ghost Lord is coming.
What have I brought upon the world?
The time of the Ghost Lord is here.
Check this out. The team let me into the San Francisco Ghostbusters HQ a little early, and it's still under construction, but I've got my proton pack, my PKE meter, and I know exactly who I'm teaming up with to take out the Ghost Lord. Because if there's one thing you can say about me, is that I ain't afraid of no ghost. Whew. Anyway, when we asked One Hamsub, developers of Racket NX, what's something players will love about your new game, they said, you can lose an arm, then pick it back up and bash your enemies with it. There you go. Underdogs is a physics-based brawler where you wrap yourself in your 5-ton gorilla mech and rampage through New Bracca, the 22nd century mech fighting capital of the world. Take on whatever the pitmasters throw your way and upgrade your mech to be even more fearsome. But remember, the more you climb the ranks, the more every lowlife in the city will be gunning for you. So get ready to claw your way up the food chain.
Yo, this city ain't never gonna let two base boys like us in. Nah, this the jungle out here, bruv. If we wanna get into New Bracca, we're gonna have to fight like fucking animals.
Watch out, madman, no madman. And I got the style like Gangnam. Bang bang in my gangland. Turn man upside down like a handstand. Don't this man, you know use this man. When I'm on arms like blood wristband. My walk none of them boy can't withstand. Them are the minimal, something like beautiful. Spread them gifts, we like a spiritual. Human as soft, all like minerals. Send for your army, syllables. I want to some of them, they think of some joke thing. Nah, sir. Watch out. Man will get top, man will get ball. Man will get passed up, man will get ball. Man will get messed up, man will get ball. Man will get pressed, man will get ball.
Rick! You're in the wreck! Get up, man! The bubble's critical! Your arm's broken clean off! Ricardo! They're coming in for the kill! Get up and fight!
Listen, when I start working, man get shook. In my face, then boy can't look. Then we get fried up, then we get cooked. All South South don't get overlooked. You don't get...
At last year's show, we revealed NFL Pro Era, the first NFL and NFLPA licensed VR football sim. Since the games launched last October, you've completed over 3 million NFL seasons and unlocked over 9 million trophies. But what's next? Here to tell you is Status Pro president and co-founder and former NFL wide receiver, Andrew Hawkins.
Thanks, Ruth. Our goal last year at Status Pro was to give people the experience of being NFL QB1, feeling the rush of stepping onto the field and leading your favorite NFL team to victory. And the positive response we got from our community was overwhelming, but that was just the beginning. Later this year, we're upping the game with the next evolution of NFL Pro Era. This year is all about showing the world what you've got. With the new version of NFL Pro Era, we're expanding multiplayer so you and your best friend can pit your favorite teams against each other and see who comes out on top. There's a world of competition out there, and we want to see how our community's QB skills stack up. We got a lot more to share, though, between now and launch. New features, new modes. This is more than a roster update. The next version of NFL Pro Era will build on last year's game in so many cool ways, and we cannot wait to get it in your hands. Check us out on social. We posted a lot of community and game updates there before we launch this fall. This is really cool, by the way.
Thanks, Hawk. All right, moving on from the field to the court. Back in December, Resolution Games, creators of Blastin' and Demio, revealed their latest project, Racket Club, an all-new sport designed exclusively for VR. Practice your swing solo, play pickup matches with people all around the world, or just hang out and socialize courtside with your friends in this one-of-a-kind sports complex. Here's a new look at Racket Club. At our debut gaming showcase, I premiered the launch trailer for Wraith: The Oblivion Afterlife from Fast Travel Games. It was the first VR game set in the world of darkness. And today, we're diving back into the world of supernatural horror with an all-new adventure RPG, Vampire: The Masquerade Justice, which will send you to Venice. But not the Venice you see on postcards. You are a vampire, comfortable in the city's darkest shadows. Hide in plain sight, drink the blood of mortals, and use your vampiric abilities to become the ultimate judge of the guilty. So, without further ado, let's sink our teeth into the debut trailer for Vampire: The Masquerade Justice.
Venice. Italy. Felt like I was back on square one. hiding in the night. I didn't want to get dragged into this. But the guilty must be punished. You do well to remember that. Because if you don't, I'll make things very uncomfortable for you.
Next, an adventure that never needs to end. This one is special to me. It's developed by Othergate, a studio co-founded by 4 VR veterans who I used to work with for years on the Oculus Studios team on our very first and super popular franchise, Dead and Buried. I know firsthand that these guys are masters at making fun multiplayer games, and I am honored to announce their next project, Dungeons of Eternity. This 1 to 3 player dungeon crawler generates levels from hundreds of unique chambers, so no 2 trips are the same. You'll explore dark crypts, ruined castles, and deep caverns. Battle monstrous enemies with melee and magic, solve puzzles, avoid traps, gather loot, escape back to safety, level up, and then do it all over again in a brand new dungeon. Take a look. Okay, we brought back Samba de Amigo, but we must have other beloved classics waiting in the wings, right? How about one of the best-selling games of the 90s? An iconic mystery, maybe? Something a little spooky? Yeah, I think we have one like that.
It's you! Don't be afraid. I'm here to help. There are many like me here, trapped in this house. Each night, the guests arrive.
Stout, what do you want? Show yourself!
The 7th guest is mostly known for ushering in the CD-ROM era, once upon a time. But it's a great puzzle adventure game. And it's cool to see Vertigo Games and Vertigo Studios Rotterdam staying true to the original, but reimagining it for a new era. The team is using volumetric video to capture the live action performances of actors to help tell the game's story. They're also fully recreating the iconic mansion in 3D for the first time. Just don't be surprised if it starts changing shape around you. It is haunted after all. In addition to The Seventh Guest, Vertigo is working on Arizona Sunshine 2, a sequel to one of the most popular games from VR's early days. This one people have been waiting to see for a long time, including me. You might have seen the CG reveal recently, but today we have another short teaser for you. Time to say hello to your old pal Freddy, and hello to a new friend as well.
Oh, what's going on, Fred? Hold up. Allow me to show you how it's done. Nice, but... Oh, yeah, that's gonna do. Watch and learn. What the? Get a room. You know that only counts as one.
In Arizona Sunshine 2, you'll survive the desolate waste of Arizona with your new best friend, Buddy, who you can trust to have your back, even when Freddies are trying to take a bite out of it. Arizona Sunshine 2 launches later this year, so be sure to check out the game's extended CG reveal trailer if you haven't already. Okay. Last November, Netflix and Tenderclaws revealed that the hit series Stranger Things is coming to VR. I hope you're comfortable in the Upside Down, because you're going to be spending a lot of time there. In this chilling psychological horror experience, you are Vecna, invading people's minds and conjuring up their worst nightmares as you look to take revenge on Eleven and her friends. Stranger Things VR comes to MetaQuest Store later this year. And here is a brand new trailer.
I saw a means to realize my potential, to transcend my human form, to become the predator I was always born to be.
Next, it's time to strap into your omnidirectional mobility gear and prepare to fight the unthinkable. Attack on Titan is a best-selling manga series, acclaimed anime adaptation, and now, thanks to the team at Universe, an exhilarating VR game. Attack on Titan VR Unbreakable lets you join the Scout Regiment and go head-to-head with the Titans themselves. Swing through the air using your ODM gear and take down enemies many times your size as you try to protect the last vestiges of humankind. Some of you may already be familiar with this game because we teased it late last year, but you didn't get to see the game's dynamic, high-flying battles. Today you will. Back in 2011, Polish developer People Can Fly the creators behind Outriders and Painkiller introduced the world to skill shots. Blast an enemy out of the air, skill shot. Kick him into a cactus, skill shot. Crush somebody under a hot dog cart. You get the idea. Now imagine how creative you could get with that system in VR. Forget imagining it. We've got it. Here's your first look at Bulletstorm in VR. This is the Bulletstorm we all know and love. Every skill shot, every story beat fully recreated from the ground up for VR. And for the first time, you'll actually be able to handle an energy leash, deliver devastating blows, and mow down hordes of mutated enemies. So book your ticket to the planet Stygia for later this year. And thanks to People Can Fly and Incuvo for bringing such a fun project to life. Okay, before we start talking about our final game, I know you've been waiting for an update on Assassin's Creed in VR. And I have good news. Assassin's Creed Nexus is coming to the MetaQuest store by the end of the year. Tune in to Ubisoft Forward on June 12th for the full reveal of Assassin's Creed Nexus. All right, I promised you a deep dive. Let's get into it. In 2019, Asgard's Wrath took us on an epic journey across the fabled 9 realms of Norse mythology. That journey ended here, imprisoned in this very tavern by the trickster god Loki. But Destiny has more in store for you. From Sanzaru Games and Oculus Studios, this is the world premiere of Asgard's Wrath 2.
Chaos is spreading. Loki's evil invades all realms.
He must be stopped.
Betrayal has made you stronger, Guardian.
No more war pigs have the power. Hand of God has struck the
hour. Your reality is mine, Guardian.
Exact your vengeance.
And unleash your wrath.
Asgard's Wrath 2 is an all-new standalone adventure in this epic series. Freed from prison by the Weavers of Fate, you'll set out on a new quest across time and space, from the Norse realms to the deserts of ancient Egypt. Here on the Great Sand Sea, you'll once again battle gods and creatures of myth to to stop Loki from upending all of creation. When the original Asgard's Wrath released on PC VR, it wowed players with its jaw-dropping scale, brutal physics-based combat, and stunning graphics. Asgard's Wrath 2 will set a whole new standard for wireless VR. This is the deep and immersive action RPG that you've been waiting for. Packing enormous, free-roaming environments, gorgeous visuals, and well over 60 hours of exploration and tense combat into MetaQuest 2 and MetaQuest 3. Today, my friend Matt Kramer, head of design at Sanzaru Games, will take us on a tour of the team's groundbreaking title. Everything you're about to see was captured in-game. Matt, the mic's yours.
Thanks, Ruth. I'm so excited to show everyone what we've been working on at Sanzaru these last few years. Asgard's Wrath 2 picks up where the first game left off, in a mysterious tavern you can't escape from. You're suddenly thrust into battle with a giant creature, clearly from another realm. Just when you think all is lost, you encounter the Weavers of Fate, a trio of beings that set you off upon your adventure to find and stop Loki. So just how much bigger is this game? Not only will you travel through new Asgardian locations, like Muspelheim, the Land of Fire, the Weavers of Fate will also bring you to new realms, like the vast desert expanse of ancient Egypt. These massive worlds, beyond the scope of any other game on the MetaQuest platform, come alive in Asgard's Wrath 2. Dotted with temples, caves and dungeons, characters to meet,
travel well,
monsters to battle, quests and side quests, wildlife, crafting resources, mini-games and more. This is a living world you can roam and explore freely. The most expansive of these worlds is the Great Sand Sea, full of hidden treasures and unique events. You could spend hours upon hours exploring this map and still not discover all its secrets. You might decide to prove your combat prowess by hunting rare, high-level monsters that roam the sands, or gather plants or and animal parts to craft useful consumable goods, such as bait to attract wildlife, or a ward that provides a temporary AoE benefit wherever you throw it. But it's not all about survival. Kick back and fish, or beat your high score at the slingshot shooting gallery. There's no shortage of stuff to do and see outside the primary quest line. These worlds are so big, you're going to want some more speed as you move through them. Luckily, you'll have the power of a god at your fingertips. As with Asgard's Wrath, you'll be able to transform a few brave animals into unique warrior followers to help you solve puzzles and eviscerate enemies. New in this game, they'll serve as powerful mounts that can carry you swiftly across the massive realms of Asgard's Wrath 2. Of course, what's vast on foot or mount can look very different to a god. Like Asgard's Wrath, you'll also see the world from the god-scale perspective, and use your cosmic powers to manipulate the mortal world around you. Reach inaccessible areas, solve puzzles, and more. You can't save the world alone, though. Egypt is full of would-be heroes who need your godly assistance to enter the realm of legend. Each hero in Asgard's Wrath 2 is completely unique. Different weapons, different skills and abilities, and different strengths. By possessing these mortals, you can help them fulfill their destinies and get closer to yours as well. The first of these heroes is Abraxas, a cynical tomb robber with a grudge against the gods. You and Abraxas make an unlikely pair, but you'll have to work together to take down fearsome enemies like the bloodthirsty goddess Sekhmet. Abraxas seeks vengeance against Sekhmet for the murder of his father. With his boomerang axe, whip sword, and bladed shield at your command, he'll stop at nothing to defeat her. combat was one of the aspects players loved most about Asgard's Wrath, us included. It was vicious and brutal. Whether swinging a sword, throwing an axe, or even using your fists, the combat made you feel powerful and skilled. In the first game, the combat favored a defense-first approach, meaning you had to block and parry a series of enemy attacks before you had a chance to remove their runic shields. This loop had to be completed 3 or 4 times before you could start damaging an enemy. In Asgard's Wrath 2, our updated combat system is centered around player choice. Nothing is holding you back. You can chip away at enemy shields through a flurry of attacks or land skilled parries to trigger opportunity windows that let you cut through your enemy's defenses with ease. We've also expanded the systems to include elemental types for a greater degree of player customization and wider variety amongst enemy archetypes. This time, we have a full physics system implemented for weapons, with swords, axes, bows, staffs, and more at your disposal. You can find a combat style that's right for you. But you'll need to change up your approach, as enemies will now react to your every movement and switch up their own attacks. You'll also unlock new skills and abilities as you level up, letting you invest further in the weapons you use most. Unlock powerful abilities and super attacks to truly change the game. Nothing feels better than seeing your weapon soar into the air and rain down on a horde of enemies. You'll also discover relics you can slot into your weapons and armor that will provide you with powerful buffs, like adding fire damage to your weapon or heal over time, allowing you to customize your weapon set against each enemy you face. But you won't be the only one leveling up. Your animal followers have their own skill trees and will grow in power the more you spend time with them. Even with an upgraded companion and all these powers at your disposal, don't think the enemy AI will go easy on you. As you level up, so will they, gaining new abilities, smarter tactics, sneaky counters, stronger armor, powerful super attacks, and relics to use against you. Some will even heal each other, boost each other's damage, or call for reinforcements. You'll have to use all the strength, endurance, speed, and quick thinking you can muster to forge a path through the ravenous enemies that lay between you and your destiny. For a true challenge and the opportunity to earn bragging rights amongst your friends, you can step into the Uncharted Rifts, an infinitely replayable dungeon crawling mode with exclusive loot that you can take back with you into the main campaign. The rifts are always open, so you can visit at any point during or even after the campaign and put your skills against some of the toughest time-limited challenges the rifts have to offer. Face increasingly ferocious enemies as you delve deeper into these endless labyrinths, encountering the ghosts of players who fell victim to the rifts before you. Whether friend or foe, these specters will be part of your dungeon, helping or hindering your progress. Survive long enough and you'll earn a spot on the leaderboards and those precious bragging rights. The Uncharted Rifts are deep and full of mystery. They're almost like a whole game on their own, and we've barely scratched the surface of all the unique dangers you'll encounter. I hope that this first look at Asgard's Wrath 2 has you excited. We've got so much more to show you. More heroes, more companions, more gods, Loki anomalies. I can't wait to show you more. Back to you, Ruth.
Okay, now head over to the MetaQuest store because pre-orders of Asgard's Wrath 2 are open. Pre-order and you'll get a copy of the original Asgard's Wrath on PC. You don't have to play it before, but it'll add some fun context. You'll also get immediate access to the Great Sand Sea home environment I'm standing in now, and unlock an exclusive Asgard's Wrath 2 themed character, as well as the title of Cosmic Guardian in Population 1. And once Asgard's Wrath 2 launches later this year, those who pre-ordered will get access to the Sword of Ra and the Sun God's battle armor. That's the end of our main showcase, but stick around for more, because up next, we have some of the most passionate VR creators sitting down to discuss the games from the show. And while you're there, we're running a sale on favorites like NFL Pro Era, Resident Evil 4, Phone Lab, Among Us, and many more. And like last year, we're also giving away this awesome room I'm standing in. It's available now in settings under Home Environments. Of course, there's so much more we want to share with you. We plan to announce more games, major updates to existing titles, and we've got a whole new headset to launch. Thank you all so much for tuning in, and thanks to the developers who helped put this show together. Keep playing, and we'll see you next year. I'm gonna be in so much trouble if this leaks, but this actually looks a lot like Quest 6. The Ecto 1? Oh yeah, that's still parked at my place. No, they're not getting it back.
Long have I guarded this.
Hi everyone, I'm Travis Williams, Head of Production at Oculus Publishing. We hope you enjoyed our showcase and are excited for all the awesome games. We gathered some of our talented developers and your favorite VR content creators to talk a bit more about two of them, Asgard's Wrath 2 and Ghostbusters, Rise of the Ghost Lord. First up is Asgard's Wrath 2, the massive RPG coming to Quest later this year from Sanzero Games. Let's meet our guest. Matt Kramer is the studio creative director at Sanzero Games and a good friend of mine.
What's up, Travis?
You know? And here to grill him with questions are VR gaming creators from the community. We are pleased to welcome Jasmine of VR with Jasmine.
Hi, everybody.
What's going on, Jasmine? Jeff, AKA A Wolf in VR.
That's me.
What's going on? And Thomas, AKA Voodoo, DE.
Hi, guys.
Thank you all so much for being here. You guys have just seen our reveal trailer and gameplay walkthrough. I'm sure you have plenty of questions, but first, I'm going to kick things off with a question to Matt. What led your studio from the first game to Asgard's Wrath 2?
Well, you know, the first game, we just knocked it out of the park. I mean, it's the largest, biggest action RPG ever made in VR.
Yes.
So what are we going to do? Let's make it bigger.
Yes,
Let's make it better. And that is what we're doing with Asgard's Wrath 2. So I cannot wait for you guys to dig into this game. I want to so bad. Like, Wrath 2 has so many different layers of gameplay. We've got the Uncharted rifts. We've got over 60 plus hours of gameplay in large, huge, expansive worlds.
60.
So you guys saw the mounts, which we'll talk about further.
Yes.
You can look at that. Zoom in on this. Look at that.
That's me on the Panther thing.
That's our next mocap right there. So, but you know, we've got these mounts, and so that just gives you any inkling of the size of the worlds. You can transform any of those guys at any moment.
So Jasmine, you're new to the Asgard's Wrath experience. What did you think of the trailer?
Wow, that's what I thought. The whole time, I think my jaw was on the floor, just like, what? There's more, there's more, there's more. And honestly, the entire time I was looking at it, first I did notice how beautifully designed the characters are. Like their costumes look beautiful, so intricate, which is amazing that you're able to get that on a standalone headset like the Quest.
Oh yeah.
But aside from that, I was also, the whole time I was feeling like, am I in a movie? I feel like I'm literally in a movie. So could you talk more about like how much of the storyline is like built into there?
Yeah, so Asgard's Wrath 2 takes off where the first one left off. And the good news is you don't have to play the first game. We've got an awesome recap that you can see in VR, and we retell the whole story. So first game, you're kind of a fledgling god. Loki takes you under his wing. And if you remember, Loki left you in a prison and you're trapped there. So the second game takes off with these Weavers of Fate intervening and helping you get out of this prison to track down Loki where he is. And that's where we find him in ancient Egypt.
Very cool.
Jeff.
Yeah.
Man, look, you're old school Asgard draft.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Okay, so tell me, like, what's your favorite memory?
Okay.
Pick one.
Okay, my favorite thing about the first game is probably the scale of it. I mean, you know, you're a god, you're a little person, so on and so forth, but when you first walk into Jotunheim, which is the world of giants and all that, and you just look in the background and this giant's like suddenly getting up off the ground, and you're just like, way down here, and you're just like looking up, craning your neck to see these giants moving, it's just incredible. And that's something that you can only feel in VR.
Absolutely, I agree. So how about this Asgard draft?
Oh man, I am so excited about it, and I assume you guys have even more like hidden collectibles and secrets all around the world that people can find. Because I remember one of my favorite parts about the first one is I played through the entire game. You know, you hit the credits, but then there are these massive like side dungeons that tell their own story, and you kind of find those in random locations. Do you have stuff like this too, where I can go out and just do an entirely different game outside the main story?
Yeah, and it's something that we always think about. We're always valuing the player's time and experience in the game. So when you unlock those side quests and stuff, they're not like 1 or 2 objectives and stuff. It is a full-on narrative story that you're gonna unlock, almost with its own little ecosystem and its own little loop.
So it's not kill 10 squirrels, it's go on this adventure.
Yeah, we want you to feel like you're in the world, living and breathing it.
I can't believe that this is on Quest 2. It's just amazing to see this kind of graphics. And my question is, how could you do that on Quest 2, and how does it look on Quest 3?
Yeah, great question. So first on Quest 2, so everything you saw, that's Quest 2 footage. Absolutely looks phenomenal. Crazy. And so we're just very conscientious about what our boundaries are, what we can do and what we can't. We make those boxes very early on in development, and those are the boxes that we live in. In terms of Quest 3, the feeling of the headset is superb. I've been using this for a couple months now. The form factor is primo.
It is.
Really? The other thing is resolution and horsepower on this thing is phenomenal.
Oh, so it will even look better on Quest 3. Crazy.
The first game, combat was hit or miss. On the really easy difficulty, it was actually more fun to do combat because you didn't have to do all this blocking, parrying, waiting for other stuff to happen. But in this one, combat looks so much more fun. But in addition to that, the weaponry. I mean, we got axes, and you're Captain America-ing a shield across there. You have this like a harp bow that's shooting things.
That harp.
What is that?
What I do want to talk about is weapon diversity. So another thing that we haven't touched on is the sword that Abraxas has transforms into a whip.
Oh yeah.
And so traversal in general is taken to another level in Asgard's Wrath too. You're gonna be whipping across things. You're gonna be doing combinations where you're wall running to a couple wall runs, and then you're floating in air, and then you're using the whip to pull yourself.
They're like flipping weapons.
Yeah, cool.
Let's say you have your mount, your wonderful mount we call Sabira, the Black Panther that you saw. She's over in the corner. She's all set up in mount form. You gotta rush. You wanna rush onto the mount, but she's really far away. Use your whip, pull your whip, boom, you're right on the mount, you're riding around. Oh, there's a mob of enemies out there while you're on the mount. I wanna go attack those guys. Use your whip, pull yourself right to the target, and you're right off the mount, toe-to-toe combat. And it's that kind of fluidity and feeling through the combat and the contextuals that really takes us to another level.
Insane.
Yeah, so it sounds like the weapons also dual, like being able to do something else. Are there any other weapons that do something else?
Oh, we have a ton. I mean, the shield in its own has so many layers to it. You could throw the shield out, you could stop it in space. The axe, you could throw it, you could stop it, you can redirect it. All the weapons also have a puzzle layer to it, so you'll be able to use them for certain puzzles. You may have to redirect some switches or something, and you'll be using the axe for that. And the cool thing is that every hero that you meet, they have all different gear. So every character you're gonna meet, it's gonna feel like a totally different game in itself. And the coolest part is those characters you meet, those followers that you meet throughout your adventure, you bring them back to the beginning of the game, you bring them back to other locations to unlock further content. Yeah, so much stuff with the hero weapons.
This game just seems to be full of the wouldn't it be cools. right?
That's how any game starts.
I know, but,
Yeah.
but you know, the thing about it is a lot of times you don't get to put that stuff in the game. You know, you go like, wouldn't this be cool? Wouldn't this be cool? And it just seems like you just sat around and just said, hey, you know, it'd be cool, and you put it in the game.
You know, I'm going to tell you what, wouldn't it be cool moment. So you guys saw in the trailer, there's this big lunken monster that's going around the back of the desert. That desert is called the Great Sand Sea. And you're going to see this guy. Yep, you're there right now.
Yeah, I feel it.
And
don't turn around.
See this guy in the background. And if you look closely at some of the footage in the trailer, there's going to be a moment where you're going to be toe to toe with that giant creature. So when you talk about epic scale and can these guys do the epic scale on the Quest 2, the stuff that you're going to fight and battle is on a huge scale.
We talked about a lot of characters and gods and stuff, so there will be something like a story, of course. Will my community be able to play that game in German, for example?
So on launch day, we will have all localization.
Wow.
And that'll be day one from right off the bat.
Awesome.
Nice. That's what I want to hear. So you talked about hardcore players. Will there be different difficulties like in the first part?
Yep. We have
What's the
everything
difference?
from, you know, the base story mode to the hardest difficulty, which we call Wrath.
Oh, absolutely.
But why?
Because it will punish you.
I feel it.
I want to see that YouTube video, you finishing the entire game on Wrath difficulty.
Well, my first series is going to be 40 episodes because it's a 60-hour game, plus dungeons, plus you have these rift mechanics. I mean, it's massive. You expect me to play it multiple times?
I guess you better get on it.
All right, I'll take the game right now.
So when you talk about 60 hours gameplay, how can you make sure the game is interesting all over that 60 hours? How do you?
Yeah, it's just making sure that everything is fresh. You know, we've got our overarching story narrative, and then we have all the different characters and hero gears and followers you meet. In my mind, I feel like all those little sagas are like mini ecosystems in themselves. They're mini games in themselves. Plus, we've got the Uncharted Rifts. So the Uncharted Rifts unlocks as the player's moving the game forward. They're going to meet a character called the DM. The DM opens this rift on the ethereal planes with the Weavers. And so the Rift play is basically like a roguelite game. There's floors and floors of dungeons that the players need to go through. Now, what's cool about this is when you die in the Rift,
which I will,
you can leave behind either a divine soul or a dread soul. A divine soul will go off into the cosmos and it'll go into someone else's game.
Wow.
And while they're playing those Rift dungeons, they may have your divine soul there. And let's say the wolf is having a hard time because he's probably going to have the hardest time.
Probably.
And he needs some extra help. He can reach out to one of those divine souls and you could pull them into your game.
So I can pull Jasmine into my game.
You could.
And her soul will help me.
Yep. So let's say you're not so nice and you want to throw out a dread soul.
Oh boy.
And so you can send out a dread soul to go to other people's games, and they'll actually be an enemy that's going to fight other people.
Crazy.
And it's an asynchronous play where you're getting a feedback loop back and forth.
How'd you come up with this? This is wild.
We want to make sure the game is chock full of all these different discovery points. And to your earlier question, how do you keep people playing? Is things like this. It's the story, it's the content, it's the type of stuff that's coming and just keeping it fresh. So
I think that's fresh as hell as far as I'm concerned. I mean, look, Matt, clearly you spent a lot of time making this game. It's gonna be awesome. All right, that's all from us now. Thanks a ton to Jasmine, Jeff, and Thomas for joining us today, but especially Matt. You know, Asgard's Wrath 2 is available for pre-order now with some awesome in-game items coming exclusively to MetaQuest headsets later this year. Hey, we're back. Hey, Ruth, I know you like to fit, but it's not just me. I got a whole squad. Yeah. Let's move to the ghost-infested streets of San Francisco to talk more about Ghostbusters: Rise of the Ghost Lord, launching later this year on MetaQuest. Let's meet our panel. Jack Bromhead is the art director at InDreams, developers of the first ever Ghostbusters game coming to MetaQuest.
Thank you, Travis.
What's happening? And again, we're joined by a group of VR content creators to throw questions at him. First up is Techman from the TikTok channel, Techman Jew. What up, Techman?
What's good with you?
You know. You know her as Otterworldly on YouTube. What's up, Otter?
How's it going?
What's going on? And then finally, Gamertag VR is here.
Hey.
What's going on?
I'm good, man.
All right. Thank you guys for stopping by.
Hey.
We just shared more about Ghostbusters, Rise of the Ghost Lord story, Villain, and announced that the game is coming fall 2023. But before we get to your questions, I'd like to ask each of you, what did you think of the new trailer? Otter, what'd you think?
It was cool to see the design of all the different monsters as well as like the environments. What made you decide to go with that style for Ghostbusters?
Yeah, well, there's so many themes to Ghostbusters, and we wanted to stay super authentic to the IP. We wanted that horror element, so there's some really moody environments in there. The ghosts are scary. We've got, you saw the crocodile hand ghost in there. And the googly, which is holding its own eyes, which is pretty good. So, yeah, we wanted to hit that horror theme, but we also wanted it to be accessible to everybody. Ghostbusters is accessible. It's iconic. There's multi-generations of fans, and so we wanted every one of those generations to see the game and just buy into it straight away.
That's awesome.
It looked amazing to me, to be honest. Like, I love the graphics, I love everything. What stuck out to me was the multiplayer aspect of the game, right? Because the games I find most enjoyable are games I can play with my friends. So I just want to see how we're going to incorporate the traps, the proton pack, the scanner. I thought you were going to turn it on.
Well, Please don't turn it on. I don't want to know if there are ghosts in this area, for real, because I'm not equipped for that.
I just want to know, like, my main thing about it is, like, how is the gameplay, like, when it comes to multiplayer? Like, I want to know, is there, like, when we go in the dungeon, it's going to be, like, a tank, a DPS? Like, how are we going to use our technology to benefit everyone?
Absolutely. So yeah, it's all about teamwork. So it's about going into these places and busting ghosts together. And you've got an array of equipment to use. So you've got the proton pack, the iconic proton pack. You've got the ghost trap and the PKE, as you said. So the PKE, that's your radar, right? That's how you navigate around the world. You find your items, or you find the ghost that you're going to bust, or the ghost that's infested that area.
Okay.
And then as a team, you coordinate, right? Who's zapping the ghosts, who's tethering them, who's going to trap them, and there's that that really fun co-op thing of just working together. All of your equipment is upgradable. You'll see in the trailer there was the upgrade station, so that's where you mod out your kit.
Okay.
So one of your team might decide to have the shield, the deployable shield, or the decoy, and the others might be just doing the heavy lifting with the proton pack.
So basically, it's like once we determine our loadouts, it'll be easier, or like we'll be able to have a better strategy for facing each ghost.
Yeah, definitely. It's all about strategy.
Okay.
And the most fun thing, to be honest, is when everyone's been working hard tethering these ghosts, and you go in and you trap the ghost.
So you get your mission at the main HQ, which I'm assuming we can see behind us.
Yeah, absolutely.
And then you determine what you're going to do from there.
Yeah. You get to select an array of missions, and you load out how you want to play and how the team's loaded out. Get to the Ecto 1 and start busting ghosts together.
Nice.
What I really liked is the fact that ghost busting's a business.
So you earn cash?
Yeah, you earn cash. You're clearing out the ghost infestation in San Francisco.
Yeah.
So you earn cash at the end of every mission, and you buy equipment. You got to work together to work out how you're gonna bust these ghosts without destroying Golden Gate Bridge.
That's a real strategy.
So with such a legendary IP, what was like the hardest bit to do to bring this to VR? Because this is probably the best way anyone could actually feel like they are a Ghostbuster for the first time.
Absolutely.
So, yeah.
VR is so immersive, and to put on the headset, pick up the proton pack, and go in with your friends it's insane, right? One of the hardest things was making sure that it felt authentic. It's making sure that the proton wand felt like the proton wand.
Yeah.
And the trap, when that opens and captures a ghost, it's as powerful as it is in the movies.
But we tie in a lot of the existing Ghostbusters universe into what we made.
Otter, your people are watching, right? Like, what do they want to know about Ghostbusters: Rise of the Ghostwood?
Is the Marshmallow Man going to be in it?
Well, there's mini puffs.
Yeah,
really fun when you go around the corner and you get absolutely swarmed by.
Do you feel bad killing them though?
Not at all.
Picking them up.
No. Don't try and eat them.
No.
Speaking of the ghosts, like, you know, you mentioned the ghost of the crocodile hand.
Yeah.
Like, what made you come up with these designs? Like, how does that work?
Yeah, we looked at the spirit guide and all the existing IP, and we just tried to make the most fun, most exciting ghost we could.
So fans will get in here and feel some nostalgia.
Yeah.
Okay, that makes sense.
So there's a definite art style that you've chosen. Can you tell me, like, how'd you come up with that art style? Like, what was the decision? Like, I'm going to do something like a Toon Shade.
Yeah, absolutely. So we started with very strong concept art. We concepted it all out, and we picked from the styles that we really liked the most. But it was quite clear we needed a really strong toon shader. One, we wanted to play to our strengths on the platform, and two, we just wanted to make it pop. We wanted the characters to pop, we wanted the ghost to pop, and especially when you're dealing with these quite dark and moody environments, you know, you're going around Alcatraz when it's abandoned, so you know you want things to still look like they pop out.
So Techman, what kind of multiplayer gamer are you then?
Man, just like Ghostbusters, something with strategy.
Okay.
Right? So I want to go in, I want to have a plan. I don't want to just go in shooting, busting ghosts. I want to make sure we know what we're going after, what we're going to do, who's going to use the trap, who's going to use this weapon, that weapon. I want it to be flawless, right? Because if we're going to lead a team, if we're going to storm through the gates, we need to know what we're doing.
Techman has clearly got some multiplayer pre-qualification in order to make it happen. Well, listen, Jack, I appreciate you coming through. This looks amazing.
Thank you.
You're the art director, so much love. That'll do it for our Ghostbusters Rise of the Ghostwood Roundtable. Huge thanks to everyone on the stage. Jack.
Thank you.
Techman, Otter, and Gamertag for taking part. Ghostbusters Rise of the Ghostwood launches this fall, and you can wishlist the game right now on the MetaQuest store. That's all from us. Again, we hope you enjoyed this year's showcase, as well as these deeper discussions. Until next time, peace. Hi, everyone. I'm Travis Williams, head of production at Oculus Publishing. We hope you enjoyed our show.